So the rumor mill has been buzzing with talk that Martin Truex Jr., one of the championship frontrunners, is considering retiring at the end of this year. Now, I know that he very publicly toyed with the idea of retirement last year, but he has had such a strong year that I wouldn't have taken the idea of him walking away seriously even just a couple of months ago. If he does retire, the fallout for the sport would be massive, and it would present a problem for me personally because I'm a Martin Truex fan, and I would need to find someone new to cheer for on Sundays. So before we jump into the fallout that really matters, and not just my own personal heartbreak, go to the comment section and give me your best sales pitch for why I should cheer for your favorite driver next year if Truex does retire. Anyway, onto the stuff that people really care about. Martin Truex's decision affects much more than just him. So there are people who are waiting on his decision and would like for it to come sooner rather than later. Truex himself has acknowledged this. Things come into play like finding a driver to replace him at JGR in the number 19 car, or maybe the number 18 car. Just saying, it doesn't feel like Joe Gibbs Racing without a number 18 car. Where does Bass Pro Shops and the rest of Martin Truex's sponsors go? Do they stay at JGR, or do they go find other drivers who may be a better fit for their brand? Let's start with who replaces Truex behind the wheel. I would say that the candidates for this job would likely include John Hunter Nemechek, Sammy Smith, and maybe some wildcard options, including Todd Gilliland, Corey Heim, and Shane Van Gisbergen. I think in this situation, John Hunter Nemechek is the clear frontrunner. I've actually been saying it for over a year now that I believe John Hunter Nemechek would be Martin Truex Jr.'s eventual replacement, but man has he put together a strong case this year. He's leading the points in the Xfinity Series with 4 wins and an average finish of 7th, and halfway through the season, he's only finished outside the top 10 in 3 races so far. I believe that Sammy Smith is going to have a very successful Cup Series career one day, but at 19 years old, I think it's worth allowing him to develop another year or two in the Xfinity Series before bringing him up to the Cup Series. The same can be said for Corey Heim. He may be dominating in the Truck Series this year, currently leading the points in spite of having missed a race, but at just 20 years old and with only 2 Xfinity Series starts to his name, I think he needs another year or two to develop. I do believe that one of these 2 drivers, either Smith or Heim, will replace Denny Hamlin in the 11th car. I put Todd Gilliland on this list as a wildcard option due to the fact that he is an underappreciated talent who deserves a shot at top equipment, considering his performance this year. But also because he does have a past relationship with Toyota, and his father does own a Truck Series team that runs with Toyota. With that said, I don't see Gilliland as a likely replacement, as I believe that Ford does have some money invested in him, and his performance this year may cause Ford to think twice before letting him go, especially when you consider how weak their farm system is. Finally, Shane Van Gisbergen is a name that everyone is talking about and connecting to every team that can conceivably have an open seat for next year. I've already said that I think Stewart-Haas Racing should make a big play for SVG, but Joe Gibbs Racing is a team that other people have speculated about him going to. However, I just don't see this one happening. I mentioned in my video about the possibility of SVG being a fit at Stewart-Haas that his relationship with Red Bull presents a complicating factor due to Stewart-Haas's relationship with Riley Herbst and Monster Energy. Well, the same holds true for Joe Gibbs Racing, and the fact that Ty Gibbs is with Monster Energy. The difference is that it's one thing for SHR to cut ties with Riley Herbst, should it come to that, but the Sahara Desert will be a frozen tundra before Joe Gibbs Racing cuts ties with Ty Gibbs. He's the owner's grandson. It's not happening. And I believe that it would be easier if SVG comes with Red Bull instead of finding someone to make up for that lost Red Bull money. Ultimately, if Martin Truex retires, I think this seat clearly belongs to John Hunter Nemechek. Man, did he ever play his cards right, leaving a Cup Series ride at front row to go for a Truck Series championship with Kyle Busch Motorsports and eventually working his way through the Toyota pipeline. Of course, someone could come along with a bigger check and steal the ride from him. NASCAR is unfortunately a sport where money talks, but I think Nemechek ends up in this seat. Perhaps the more interesting question is what happens to Martin Truex's sponsors, particularly Bass Pro Shops. Bass Pro Shops sponsorship in NASCAR pretty much adheres to the first law of thermodynamics. It may move around from place to place, but it is always conserved and will always be present. It can never be created or destroyed. Bet you didn't think I was gonna work in a thermodynamics reference into this video, did you? Sorry, I'm a nerd, and I couldn't resist making that joke. Anyway, Bass Pro Shops money is going somewhere, but it is not staying at JGR. The only driver at Joe Gibbs Racing that comes close to fitting the Bass Pro brand is Denny Hamlin, maybe. But I think that it's a stretch, and it looks like FedEx is re-signing anyway, so I don't think that Gibbs can convince Bass Pro to stick around without Truex. So where does the Bass Pro money end up? They could increase their sponsorship of Austin Dillon. They have had a relationship with Noah Gragson in the past, and I'm sure Legacy Motor Club would welcome them with open arms as they try to get their organization back on the right track. One wildcard option I would actually throw out is Corey LaJoie. I don't think LaJoie is at all the likely candidate to land the deal, but his stock has been on the rise with a lot of people in the sport. He's reportedly on the cusp of signing a multi-year extension with Spire Motorsports, and Spire has made some impressive sponsorship moves recently, bringing in companies like Gainbridge and TD Ameritrade. But I don't think any of these places are where Bass Pro will end up. Back at the end of January, I made a video saying that SHR should consider hiring Josh Berry to replace Kevin Harvick. Still proud of calling that one. I said that if Martin Truex retires, I could see Bass Pro coming with Josh Berry to the 4-car. Berry currently drives for Bass Pro Shops in the Xfinity Series, so why not just move up to the Cup Series with him? Tony Stewart has said that sponsorship for the 4-car is wide open for next year, and SHR does have a past relationship with Bass Pro Shops from when they sponsored Tony Stewart himself from 2013 to 2016. This would be a huge deal for Berry and for SHR, and it would be something that I could definitely see happening. As for the other sponsors like Reesers and Auto Owners, Reesers' relationship with Joe Gibbs Racing goes back to before they ever appeared on Martin Truex's car, so I could see them sticking around for a handful of races with another driver. But Auto Owners has almost exclusively been associated with Martin Truex Jr. They sponsored Eric Jones for 2 races in 2020, but other than that, they signed on with Martin Truex when he was at Furniture Row Racing and followed him to Joe Gibbs Racing. I don't know if they move to another driver or if they leave the sport altogether. Bass Pro Shops may make up the bulk of the sponsorship for the 19 car, but Reesers and Auto Owners do combine to make up about a third of the schedule, so it is important to not just discount them entirely. So that is just some of the potential fallout from Martin Truex Jr.'s potential retirement. There are plenty of downstream effects, like if John Hunter Nemechek gets the seat, who are all of his sponsors going to be, and who replaces him in the Xfinity Series? I think Corey Heim should get that seat if it happens. Let me know in the comments what kind of fallout you think we could see, and don't forget to give me your best sales pitch for why I, a Truex fan, should cheer for your favorite driver. Please leave a like to boost the video in the algorithm. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.